Naveen Badrinarayan, and I'll be taking you through this small interactive session of mid-career. As you all know, we are all on the same side of the coin. That is, today is going to talk scenario to tackle what we call as a mid-career. Now, let's understand this whole concept of mid-career. We all grew up in a particular scenario. We all have seen life. We all have been working in the corporate world. Just to tell you about a little bit about myself, I am a naval officer. I spent 21 years commissioned service in the Indian Navy, and then decided to, explore my mid-career. Okay, and today I'm doing something that I think I found my mojo, and I am quite excited and happy in whatever I do in life today. And I think I have a way in which I went about it, and today I'm doing something that's close to my heart. I have a passion, I have a outlook towards life which is very exciting and which is very passionate, and I kind of transmit the same energy when I come back home. So I've been working with professionals, working with youngsters, been mentoring people. Though if you ask me my background, I'm a hardcore mechanical engineer, worked on board submarines, did a lot of design. But at some point in time I started questioning myself as to what I should be doing. And when I started exploring and I started finding out, I hit upon something, and then it's evolving. And mid career is not something that happens like a magic wand, that I shift from there to here. I would say that evolution happens and it moves on. Very small explanation about this whole concept of mid career. So I was saying that we're just going to interact about this whole concept of mid career, try and understand it, and see what we can do about how we should be going about in our life. So I'll be throwing light about how we are dealing with a lot of mid careers and how we actually help people live their lives happily, fulfilling, with some meaning. So let's talk about it. So let's understand. I'm going to cover my presentation very shortly in two parts. I'm going to talk about what's happening in the future, and I call it the ultimate future shock. And I'm going to tell you why it is. And then we're going to talk about the how. What can we do, and what actions can be taken to kind of ensure ourselves against what is happening in the world, and how to do something meaningful, right? At the same time, I've got some three polls with me. So I will request you, I'm going to make these polls alive in a while from now. So I'm waiting for people to join in. So I've got three polls, and I'll be very short polls are there. I'll be making these polls alive. So as all of us have we have to understand what is lying ahead. Let's understand what's happening in our world of work. And then there are very pertinent questions I'm going to ask us. When I say us, we all are facing this kind of a mid-career life today. And let's ask these questions to ourselves. My first question to all of us here would be, are we today financially secure? Now, it's very important to understand we are all working at senior positions in companies. We are doing our work. We are earning money for our families, and we are living a reasonably good life if you compare it to what we were when we were young. But then, can we call ourselves financially secure? A very important question to ask, because today's life has absolutely no security. While we are living lives, most of us at this age are into EMIs. We have, kids to look after, education to look after. That's an issue that we need to ponder about. The second question, which is very critical, is that do we feel psychologically secure in our work life today? Just this age of 40 and continuing here, what's going to happen every day is a kind of a challenge that we go through. So that's another area, that's another question that I would like to pose to us as an audience and to everyone here. Do we feel psychologically secure? So neither do we have financial security, nor do we have a psychological security where I'm peaceful and I can do what I feel like doing. Most of us, that's how it is today in a mid-career situation. The third question is, we all are very knowledgeable. We all have grown in the careers. The last 15, 20 years we've been working, and we have a tremendous amount of knowledge, experience, and competence in certain areas. But the biggest question to ask is this knowledge getting redundant? In the past, when we grew up, we saw that knowledge areas got redundant over 5 years, 10 years. It continued for 5, 10 years. But today, the situation is very different. These knowledge areas are getting redundant very quickly. And as we go by in the next 1 or 2 years, we're going to see that it'll be so fast that it'll hit us before we could, bat our eyelids. So that's the kind of future that we are looking at, because we are doing a lot of research about the future of work. Even if you read the reports of World Economic Forum and you try and understand what they are trying to say, the entire concept of work is completely metamorphosizing into something very, very dynamic and very, very, technology oriented, very dynamic, where skilling, important part again we need to ponder about. The next thing that I'm going to be asking the audience is, will our jobs, or will the mode of work called jobs? See, when we grew up, the only thing we knew is get a degree and get a job. Now the situation is completely changing. And I'm not saying this. If you read the reports of World Economic Forum, if you see KPMG reports, if you see all the reports of the data that is available on the system today, the mode of work called jobs is completely changing. What's going to happen is, the what we are reading and what we are seeing in the research is that, on demand work, or multiple, your one person, a skilled person working for multiple agencies, is going to be the future. So are we getting prepared for it? Are we for skilling? Learning is going to be, I've been there, I've done that. Sorry, that may not work. We need to prepare ourselves for this kind of a work life, where we're going to be working on our own skills, on the demand that is there existing for us. If we do not have a demand, we will be without jobs, we'll be without work. So jobs may exist, but the mode of work called jobs will have a change. You may work for multiple companies, you may be a skilled person putting your effort for multiple places, which is already happening in the world today as we see. The next question is, if we ask this question, I'm earning good money today, but is this population, is this generation a pension generation? No, we are not. So we are not going to be getting pensions. And see, I'm lucky that I belong to the defense, and there is a certain amount of pension coming to me. But then not everyone is, a very, very minuscule percentage. And even in the defense and government services, the pensions have been cut down. So this generation that we are talking about is not a pension generation. So are we ensuring our future? Are we ensuring that we are financially secure for our future? Because while we are living a good life today, as long as we are in jobs, what is going to happen 5 years, 10 years down the line? Are we prepared for it? Is a question that we need to ask. The most important question that next I would like to pose to all of us here. Okay, I'm working, I'm qualified, I have done this, I've done that, I'm very good at what I do, but do I find meaning in what I'm doing? What is this meaning word? I'm going to just elaborate on it a little bit out here. I used to ask this question to myself. I'm a very good submariner. I'm very good at engineering. I'm very good at design. But sometimes I used to ask myself, especially when I reached the age of 37, 38, touching 40, I started questioning this. What am I doing this? Why am I doing this for? What is the reason? Services, connecting everything to that question mark. But then when I started looking 10 years, 15 years, 20 years ahead, I again got a blank in my question mark. I was not able to see the answer to my question. What is the identity that I would like to create for myself, and what is it that drives me, motivates me to put in my effort? And was it really meaningful for me? When I say for me, I have a reason for it again, because every individual has different aspirations, has different ways of looking at life, and we need to understand that very clearly. That what is, something that makes me feel meaningful may not make you feel meaningful. So everybody has to identify what is that gives you that meaningful feeling in life. When you get back home, you feel, wow, I feel fulfilled in whatever I did today, and I can see that I'm going to achieve something, I've got a target to achieve, and I'm working towards it. Every day of your life, there has to be something to look forward to. Unfortunately, what happens in most of our lives is, by the time we reach this phase of life, in the young phase, yes, we get to see it. But when we reach this 40, 45, we don't see this clear cut path ahead of us. And that's where this whole mid career thing starts working in the mind, right? So that's another question that is very, very critical for this audience that we are talking about. The next one is, now today all we are all attached to an organization. We're all working hard. We're all putting in a lot of effort. Okay, I'm asking a question. Is this organization going to care for you for the next 20 years and beyond that? Realistic and competitive. And today, getting a medical insurance from his company, I mean, it's very rare in today's world, very rare. I mean, most of the companies do not have the funds to look after that. So the next logical question will be, what is your next 20 years plan? Now, if we look at this entire scenario, what we are putting in front, with all these questions asked in front of us, it looks like a very grim scenario where, you're burdened with EMIs, with education liabilities, with looking after your children, looking after elderly parents and paying EMIs for your house, paying EMIs for the loan. So, how do we actually tackle this whole issue? That's the mid career question that we are going to be talking about today. So, now if we have kind of this thing, so I'm going to, before I start talking about the how, I'm going to be throwing this poll open. I've got three small polls. So, I'll request the audiences, I'm starting this polls right now. So, please do, uh, so I've started the one poll. So my question is, do you feel career planning for professionals is nice to have, necessary to do, or not required? So I'll wait for you to complete it and then I'll move on to the next one. Okay, so that is necessary to do, and one person saying it's nice to have. 17 is necessary to do. Okay, now, okay, now, why are you looking for mid-career guidance? Okay, so I've got six choices here. You can give your multiple choices. So I've just opened the poll. Yeah, I've opened the second poll question. Yes, I'm going to open the last poll now. So I've opened the third poll. Jobs, especially for the mid-career professionals, are great. Thank you so much for responding to the polls, and I'm getting a very good idea about the audience here. Now let's talk about what should we be doing. Now we all are clear that okay, these are the problems that are there, and I think all of us know that we are going through tough times where we don't have an organization supporting us, we don't have a government supporting us, there is no social security, there is no financial security, there's no psychological security, and we are supposed to look after our finances, we are supposed to live good lives, we also are supposed to look after children's education. So what do we do? What is the how to handle this kind of a situation? Let's understand the hows now. Now, let's look at it. The first step towards doing the how of it is, I would say what I call it as discovery. What is discovery? It's about, do I know myself well? The first thing about mid career is, it's very easy when I'm dealing with students, when I'm dealing with boards, it's easy to write on mid career professionals. It's a very big challenge because many of us have got a lot of loading on us. We're all qualified, we're all educated, we are very competent, we have a lot of connections, we have a lot of experiences. So we kind of come up with a lot of baggage with us. And what happens is, many times because of this baggage, we really do not understand what is the kind of strengths that we already inherently possess. Now, discovering these strengths is very critical. How to discover ourselves thoroughly is the first and the most critical bottom line of whatever work we are going to do. Anything external is very easy, but the internal part is the most toughest part. So we need to discover ourselves. We need to discover our strengths. We need to discover our talents. We need to discover our skills. We need to discover our passions. We also need to discover all the kind of knowledge that we hold inside us. A lot of knowledge. We can divide this knowledge into four parts. An innate knowledge, which is, like for example, a farmer's child need not be taught how to sow seeds. So there are a lot of knowledge within us which we don't give it enough respect, which we have probably within us. There are people. There's a mid-career client of ours who's a was a IT professional who's today running a biking company. Now, how did this happen? It didn't happen all of a sudden. It took some time, but then the person was passionate and took 6 to 7 months to learn everything about biking. But he was very strategizing money. I'm just conventional example. There are conventional examples. Moving from a CEO of a large organization to a managing director of a small organization and being very happy doing what they are doing, office near the home, like that. So there are conventional, there are unconventional, different type of cases. But then every point before we start something, understanding and discovering your own strengths is the first step. That's the first part. Now, once we do this discovery of self, I'll talk further about it. I'll tell you what it means. But once we understand our strengths, when I said strengths, there are interest areas, there are knowledges, skills, talents, there are connections, relationships, networks. Everything belongs to you. It's all your strength. If we start listing it down today, you'll be surprised as to the amount of infinite strength that every person here holds. Many times we just neglect it because you know what? The whole world tells us what we are not good at. It comes to an appraisal meeting, you're being told, okay, you have done this well, but you got following things where you need to improve. So, right from school to college to our corporate days, we're only being told what we are not good at. Nobody is there telling us you are a bundle of strengths, infinite possibilities lie within you. Can you identify that? That's the first step. Having done the first step, we need to prioritize and categorize these trends. Okay. Now, why is it so important? Because when we take these trends and we categorize it, we come across areas which probably we are good at. My passion area is something else. I'm good at it. Now, that's something that I have to notify because I may be using it for getting my finances in so that I can be happy doing what I'm doing. So I need to list it out. I need to use it. Every single strength of ours needs to be used. So we have to list out the inventory. We have to build this inventory. And this takes a lot of effort and time and introspection and probing. And that's where, sometimes you need external help to sit across, chat up, use certain tools to identify all the strengths in us and bring it out. And when that bringing out happens, a very different kind of an energy comes within. So that's the first part of it. And then we prioritize it. When we prioritize it into areas, okay, I'm interested in it, I'm also good in it. I'm interested in it, but I'm not good in it. I'm interested in it, I'm also good in it. Now we have a priority completely prepared for all those strengths, and you'll be surprised that when we start doing this work and we start listing out the strengths, each one of us, I'm not joking, I'm not exaggerating, we have done it. So I'm telling you, each one of you here will have at least 60 to 70 identified strengths in yourself. And that's the figure that we are talking about, ladies and gentlemen. So when you start looking at yourself as a very strong person, there's a different energy that starts flowing from within you. Automatically, logically, it moves to the third step where we say, can I look at those areas which I'm interested in and I'm good at as my development areas? So we develop these four quadrants. I have the possibilities in my development areas, which is I'm very interested in, but I'm not very good at it. So these become my development areas. I'm interested in, I'm very good at, become my growth areas. I can grow here because I'm really good at it and I'm passionate about it too. So then that becomes my growth area. I have, so I was saying that. So first step is discovery. Second step is categorizing and prioritizing the areas. Third step is once I know my areas, you know, I I can identify possibilities in those areas. Now, what do I mean by possibilities? Okay, I mean, if I'm looking at possibilities in the growth, my development areas, what are the possibilities? How can I work? What can I do to develop myself in it and learn something and build myself so that I can earn money? Now, very importantly, when we are talking about possibilities, we have to look at the financial revenue generation, which is the most critical part in our age, because we cannot rely only on salary and only on savings. Impossible to survive in the world of work because the inflation is going to take over. There are no pension available, so we got to look at multiple. Okay, let me do that. I think that's a good idea. I'll put up, I'll, so I was saying, right, perfect, perfect. Thank you so much for the suggestion. And I'll just repeat whatever I was, probably could not be very clear earlier. So I was saying that we have to look at the how of it in four steps. The first step is discovery. When I say discovery, I mean, each one of us here, uh, thanks, Ashutosh. Thanks so much. Yeah. So I was saying discovery here means, we need to discover ourselves because most of the times we do not discover ourselves. We are always being told what we are not good at. So we feel that we lack something. So therefore, when we say, discover, it's about understanding our strengths. What do you mean by strengths? We have talents, we have innate knowledge, we have acquired knowledge, we have incidental knowledge that we have picked up during our work time. We also have a passion based knowledge which we are very passionate about. And then we have our connections, we have our networks, we have relationships, we have a lot of knowledge within us. Each one of us here, when we start listing down this knowledge, we can list out 60 to 70 or maybe more than that areas. And then we start categorizing them, prioritizing them into what you are good at and what you are interested in. Now, the combination of these two is very critical to understand, according to which we can categorize our growth areas and our development areas in the future. Because if we are do something that I love doing, that I like to do, I will know about it. So therefore, but then if I have to earn my revenues, I have to look at the possibilities that when I get into do something that I love to do, I could be taking a dip in my finances. So if I Okay, so we look at the possibilities. We look at what is it that we can do in our growth areas, what we can do in our development areas. So growth area is typically where I'm interested, and yeah, perfect. Now, when we put these possibilities into place, then most important when we put these possibilities is how do I generate my financial revenue from here. from multiple sources. Now, that's where the entire planning comes into play, where we start putting strategies into place, where we say, okay, I would love to do this, but today I have to earn money because I have to pay my EMIs, right? So we start planning it, we start putting a plan into place with multiple strategies. In the next 6 to 7 months, we take charge of our lives, we build a transition plan, seamlessly transit from where we are to where we can be. Now, this process takes anywhere between 3 months to 7 months for people, depending on a person to person basis as to what you are liking to do and what you would like to do. It is something required. So I'm just going to be showing a slide where I'm putting whatever I spoke about in 4 steps. Okay. So the first step is discovery, where we discover our talents, skills, knowledge, connections. The second step is prioritization, categorization. So we categorize into 4 typical areas. We call it survival, growth areas, development areas, and of course, the most important part is weeding off. A lot of time we are doing some stuff which we don't like doing and which is of no use. So we need to weed it off because time is not going to come back. Then we identify possibilities in our growth and development areas, which is where I develop an identity for myself. I call it an aspirational identity. So, what is that aspirational identity that you would like to develop for yourself in the next 10 to 15 years? So, 15 years from now, where do you see yourself? So, we build it in the growth and development areas and develop this aspirational identity. So, you do visualization, you visualize yourself as achieving something, build your entire energy towards that identity. You know what typically what happens with a human being is, if I identify myself as a person who's achieving something great, I will do anything to reach that position. We all live for hope, we all live to create something. So when we identify ourselves with something great, we automatically put our energies to start working in the direction. So the path gets drawn to the destination, which is my final identity that I'm going to create. So this is what an identity of mine, which is aspirational, achieve in my life. So have I made it clear? I've been repeating the point. So I hope I have been able to transmit the 4 steps. That is identifying the identity, and then we build a transition plan with finance generation strategies, because financial generation strategies is very critical. So we build a transition plan, and then according to this transition plan, we start walking in the direction in a smooth manner. Never at this stage should you leave a stable career or stable job. If you are having a revenue coming in through somewhere, please do not leave it. Continue doing it till the time we don't develop a clear cut plan and a destination. What I'm going to become, how am I going to achieve it, put strategies into place. And once you're completely ready, is when you're starting to generate revenue from other sources, is when you start leaving it with minimal impact to your financial stability. That is the most important part for people like us at our age. Please don't listen to anybody if they say just listen to your passion and leave your job. Please don't do that. That's completely wrong, because that's going to put you in trouble. And if you are not in peace of mind, you will not be able to do anything that you're passionate about. So continue where you're doing, understand yourself well, prioritize, set up, find out the possibilities, make a plan, and then work towards it. This is exactly how the work has to be done, and it's a very tedious and divided. That's a very small presentation I want to make. So please, my request to all of you is, let's take charge of our life. Okay, let's not believe that what has happened in the past is going to guide us to the future. Yes, we can use that, but we need to be prepared for the future, which is very dynamic. We need to align ourselves to the right fields. We need to reskill, we need to upskill, we need to learn, and we need to connect ourselves to the place in this world where the demand is going to be there. We cannot continue to do what we have been doing. So at our age, it's very important to understand this. So that's how this entire career planning would be done. I have completed my part of the presentation. I'm going to be opening the house for question and answers. I'll be happy to address any kind of questions that are coming. We have some of our mentors who are doing this work of mid-career in the session also here. They're part of the audience. So I'll be happy to, if you can ask questions on the chat, as well as I'm going to be opening the question and answer. I can, okay, Mr. Venkatesh, I'm going to be unblocking your mic. Yeah, Mr. Venkatesh, you can ask your question, please. So you can raise your hands, you can put on the chat box, you can put your question on the chat box. You can even ask Mr. Venkatesh. So answer, the first part of the discovery has to be done through a psychometric assessment. So it'll be an online thing that will be sent to you once you, yeah. So Mr. Venkatesh has just asked what will be the methodology which will be followed. So it's a very simple step-by-step process. The first step is to do a psychometric assessment. Once this assessment will be sent to you online, there's a registration process. Once you do the registration online, you'll be sent an email. On the email, there'll be a code. You just have to sit at your house and you have to give the assessment. Assessment takes about half an hour, 25 to 30 minutes. So your personality gets assessed, and based on that, a report gets generated, and then we fix up a session with a mentor. So once that is done, in the first session itself, it takes about 3 to 4 hours. In that 3 to 4 hours, a lot of tools are used to do the, what do you call, finding out the knowledge areas, finding out your past life, finding out your, building a thing. So that process is followed. This entire, it's available on our website. I'm going to be typing the website out here. It's www.dheya.com. So you can go to the website. It is called Dheya Revive. The model is called Dheya Revive, and this entire the particular mid-career product is called Dheya Revive, and this is basically 20,000 rupees is the cost of this entire program, which is a one-time charge. After that, you do a first session, and sometimes it extends to 2 follow-up sessions. And I have already put a handout here. The mid-career brochure is available, so you can go through that. All right, is my voice available now? So I have a handout also given in this thing. You can download the handout and use it, and you can register for this program. It's 20,000 rupees. Absolutely, Mr. Ashutosh. It is a paid service. It's a work that we are doing. The mentor will be working with you continuously. So it's like assessment being given to you. After the assessment is over, there is a kind of a 2 or 3 hours, 4 hours session which happens, and then there's a follow up which happens, and then the person is continuously working with you. I understand that, Mr. Ashutosh. Uh, we have to work. It's a business that we are doing. It's okay, but it's an investment that you will be getting into. Please understand that the duration takes. It's a first session happens in about 3 to 4 hours, and then it depends on case to case. So we do one follow up in case there is a, if the tool is not completely utilized, because sometimes while doing the probing it takes a lot of time. So if it takes a lot of time, so once the entire prioritization, categorization, and transition plan is made, session, sometimes it takes 3 sessions of doing this work. Any other question you would like to ask? So typically, I'll tell you something. All the mentors that we are dealing with, in fact, the mentors here are people like people who have spent at least 15 to 20 years in work life, all doing extremely well in their careers. They have all gone through this entire process. Yeah, the number of sessions, I said, first session is 3 to 4 hours. Then the number of follow-ups are two. It could be one, it could be two, depending on the work that is done in the first session. But the entire process that I talked about will be covered in the session. The entire process that I covered in the presentation will be covered in the session. So we go through the entire 4 steps. So these 4 steps will be covered. Till the time the 4 steps are not covered, the work will be done with you. So the importance is about, yes, it's an investment. It's the first time when you have to join in, you'll have to pay that amount. And to not only that, it is the question is that the mentoring outcome recording, what a person should be doing. It's not only about recommending, it's about understanding the nature of the person, allowing the person to take a decision, working along, and seeing that what's the direction you're taking and how the transition plan is to be made. Complete transition plan with the financial transition plan. So it's a kind of a very intensive work that gets done here. That's why I'm saying that though we have given a timing of 3 hours, but sometimes it extends to 4 or 5 hours also. It's a pretty exhaustive work that happens because we can't just put a time to it. Oh, Dheya is now in his 13th year, and we've been working with, for the last 12 years, we've been dealing with this mid-career as well as with early career as well as with students. So mid-career is pretty intense. Children and young children professionals are very easy to handle because they are just being molded into the entry into the work life. For us, for the people like us, it becomes a very intense session. So have I answered your question, Mr. Deepak? It's 13 years old. Yes, Mr. Amit. The mentor will be involved, and if required, even after that, because then it's more of a relationship between the mentor and you. So what happens is we kind of yes, that's a very good question, Mr. Dattatri. And I wanted to speak about this. I said that each one of us in this audience can, if you are capable, if you believe that you have a credible position as a person in the profession, you must be and do this work. In India, we have to. In India, yeah, in India, we have to have mentors who can handle this kind of a problem and work with people one on one. So everything is one on one, a very customized work needs to be done. So I think, yes, absolutely, absolutely, I agree with you, Mr. Venkatesh. We have to upskill in this world. Each one of us has to upskill and relearn, but in our own areas of interest and in our areas of expertise. Not necessarily everybody should work into data science, machine learning, because the humanities world is coming up in a very big way. And what we are doing is mentoring is more about understanding people, helping them, and building them on to be something really capable in this world. This kind of a work will be huge in demand. So it's a mentoring is a very big opportunity. Those of you who will get selected and who feel that they can add value and want to add value to the others should definitely try and become a mentor with us. We have our mentor certification program. If you get I mean, we have a curation and a selection process. So we have a curation and a selection process for becoming a mentor. Please do apply, and all the best to you. If you do join us, it will be nice. You'll really enjoy doing this kind of work. Mr. Venkatesh, my suggestion is, uh, when you are doing any course, it's good to do the courses, but it's always better to know what you want to create in the next 10 years of yourself. What identity you want to create, because there's no point doing courses at this stage in life, because we have already done a lot of studies and work. But what we need to do is identify what you want to do in life. Once you know that very clearly, once the destination is clear, then do whatever courses are needed, whatever skilling is needed, whatever thing is needed to reach the destination. But just doing a course without a clear, you know it is not right. My suggestion, my recommendation is, let's have a clear focus and on your destination, on your final destination. So Mr. Amit, success rate is amazing. I mean, we've got I mean, I would say till now whoever has come to us has found their mojo in life. When I say success, and some people, it is about finding what they love to do, maybe taking a hit on the money part, but then surviving, adding value to themselves, and enjoying what they are doing. And some people have made it very big. They've gone really up in their life and they made a lot of money. So success definition is different for different people. So I cannot put a mathematical formula to it to answer your question. Yes, the growth is amazing for the company, because the number of mentors has increased and the number of clients have increased, and the work that we do being very positive has given us more and more customer referrals, and it is doubling or tripling at times year on year. That's the kind of number of sessions that we are doing. Yes, we have. When you say orientation for mentor program, we do have our webinars. The way I've conducted a webinar for the mid-career session, we have webinars conducted for the mentor program too. And some of those webinars are already there on the YouTube. So you can go to those channels. Otherwise, please attend the next webinar, whichever is being organized for the orientation for the mentor program. We also have the training happening in the weekend in Pune, Bangalore, and Mumbai, where our mentors are getting certified. So those of you who are interested can register for this. I have your data with me, so I can ask my other team, the team which is dealing with the development of mentors, to connect with those of you who are interested, and we'll get. We are based out of Pune, but we have our mentors across India. So we have more than 2,000 mentors today, and we have some of the mentors like Shekhar Karanje is a master mentor with us who is attending this program, and we have a lot of mentors who are across India dealing with this kind of work. I have others also. I have Ramakrishna Boddu here. A lot of people in this audience who are part of the mentor community. No, it's personal. Our sessions are completely personal. In fact, the training sessions are very intense. It's you get into a community, so you get trained for more than 45 to 50 hours. Plus, we get another 40 hours of hand holding, and so it's one to one. It's completely one to one. Yes, Deepak, you do get to choose the mentor. You can be in touch with us, so you can. We'll be sharing some profiles with you, and probably which is more convenient is also the right choice, I would say. All our mentors are very, very senior people, so that should not be an issue. You would be quite happy to deal with them. Sure, Mr. Dadatri. I'll ask my team to connect with you. If we have done with the question and answers, then I think it's time to say Shabak Khair. So thank you so much for bore you up on my control, but still, as an organizer, I would apologize for the inconvenience that happened. Thank you so much for having spared your time and having listened to me, and I wish you all the very best from their side. all each one of you, deserves a bright future, and we are always there to help you. Please do give us a call. Each one of our mentors here is passionate about trying to build this country, and we will do our best to keep you, put you in the right direction. Thank you so much. Thank you so much, everyone.